Hi y'all, I'm Mel. I'm a therapist and I love horror movies. Sorry, this must be seen. So since this video and the next video are going to be my first film related videos, I am going to address the intro. Yes, I primarily watch horror movies and love horror movies. The two videos that I'm filming today are broader. I'm hoping to cover, in general, movies that make me feel a certain type of way if you like them. Okay, so today's video and the other one that I'm going to film later are my red and green flag movies. I got this from a TikTok. I unfortunately do not remember the person who posted it, so if anyone happens to know, please put it in the comments and I will add her link and all of that jazz to the description. But in general, we're gonna start with the green flag movies for this video. These are movies that if you tell me you love them, it makes me think that I could love you. I'm sure plenty of people will disagree. And some of these are only qualify for specific groups of people. So if you're one population who loves this movie, I feel one way. And if you're another population who loves this movie, I feel a different way. All right, so let's get into it. Green flag movie number 1 is Muriel's Wedding. This is a film that just 100% has my vibes. It has my mood. It has this general focus on female friendships and the importance of female friendships, which is something that's very important to me. It is a loving and lovable movie. And there's also an undertone of sadness to it that I think just fits with my approaching middle-aged depressed girl vibes. So that is Muriel's Wedding. Green flag movie number 2 is John Carpenter's The Fog. I feel like this is a film that no one really focuses on. No one really talks about it, but it is honestly one of the more charming horror films in existence. First of all, I love Adrienne Barbeau. I'm a little bit obsessed with Adrienne Barbeau. I think she might be a goddess if I believed in goddesses, which I don't really, secular pagan vibes. But it's basically an episode of Scooby-Doo that they made scary. It probably helps also that I saw it when I was 8 years old in my living room in the dark in the middle of nowhere. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience. But in general, if you tell me that you haven't seen The Fog, I'm gonna... Sorry. Okay, in general, if you tell me that you haven't seen The Fog, I'm gonna make you watch it. And if you don't like it when we watch it, that probably means we're not gonna make it as friends. Okay, green flag movie number 3, Steel Magnolias. I know I'm realizing that this list is a little bit more American than I intended it to be. Obviously, Muriel's Wedding is not American. But The Fog and Steel Magnolias are deeply American films. So Steel Magnolias is for me, again, another film that's about the importance of female friendships and cross-generational female friendships, which I think is really important. A big thing for me when I was a developing young woman, when I was in my early 20s, which I'm obviously not anymore, is that I made friends with some older women who were in their 50s and 60s, and it just really impacted the way that I moved through the world and helped me understand what it meant to be a person with this identity in the time that we were living and in the past as well, because that historical context is so important. I will add to this also, I didn't mention it earlier, but I'm going to mention it now. I am talking about all women. This includes trans women. If you have a problem with that, then you should just go elsewhere. Okay, so moving on to green flag movie number 4 is The Manitou, which is a William Girdler film from 1972 or 1973. I think it's 1972. And it is... well, it's problematic, I'm not gonna lie. But if you love it because it is absolutely batshit, and if you love it because it's literally about a Native American shaman growing out of someone's back, and that is the most unique storyline I have ever encountered in my life, then yeah, we could get along, as long as you recognize that the whole notion of there being an evil shaman growing out of someone's back who is getting revenge against the white people from all Native Americans is like inherently problematic. Or maybe it's not, I don't know. Like, I'll let someone who is of that community comment, but I'm leery of saying that it's not problematic, I guess I would say. I think it has it's a movie about Native Americans, and I'm pretty sure there are no Native Americans in it. So there you go. It is a film that shows you some of the most unique images you'll ever see. It's not gory or anything like that. The effects are just like very unique. It's a very special film and a very special experience. Watching it is a very special experience. I like a lot of William Girdler films, but this one is my favorite. Green Flag movie number 5 is for the lesbians out there. The Blood Spattered Bride, which is a Spanish film that is in English, I believe also from 1972. I like the 70s a lot. It is very loosely based on Carmilla, very, very loosely. It has the strangest character introduction I've ever seen in a film. Never seen anything like it since. Essentially, we're just gonna say it. She arrives on screen first, which is, yeah, I'm not gonna say more than that, but yeah, it's a special, special movie. It is like, in its generation, I would say that it was trying to be feminist. I don't think today it would succeed, but it is very complex in terms of its understanding of gender politics and the role that men have in young women's lives, especially young women who are marrying slightly older men. And when I say slightly older, I don't mean 20 and 60, I mean like 20 and 35. As a person who is currently 39, married to a 29-year-old. So 28, she'd kill me. She's turning 29 next month. Green Flag movie number 6 is again for the lesbians out there, and it is Lost and Delirious. This is, Lost and Delirious is a film that is essentially a teenage romance for adults who were gay in the 90s. So, or who maybe didn't even realize they were gay in the 90s and thought that relationship that they had was just a really good friendship, but definitely was not just a really good friendship. You know, like me when I fell in love with Whitney Houston watching The Bodyguard when I was very young, and I didn't realize that was super gay. I'm not going to give plot synopses for these films, but it is a lesbian tragedy. It does fall into the category that all lesbians are trying to get out of, which is, you know, a queer baby dies. I don't want to say I don't care, but like when it came out, that wasn't quite the trope that it is today. And it was a formative film for people my age who were like coming out in their early 20s, realizing what their lives were when they were younger and how they expressed their queerness without realizing they were expressing their queerness. This film is very special to me. If you also love this film, then let's be friends. Okay. Green Flag movie number 7 is, I'm just gonna say it. You cannot be a cisgender man who loves this movie and fit into my category of people I want to be friends with, okay? But you can be pretty much any other category and fit into my group of people who I want to be friends with. So, it is 45. I don't know if a lot of people have seen this, but it is an SA revenge film about a mute woman living in New York in the 80s. That is all I'm going to say right now, but it is, I mean, it's an exploitation film in nature, and it will fit that category very clearly, but I have found that many of the women, trans women, cis women, who love this film typically are very kind and compassionate people who also have an undercurrent of rage for all of the injustice that mostly woman-identified people experience. There are plenty of other SA films that I absolutely love, and one will be on my red flag movies, actually, one that I hate. But this one is just unique. I probably would have also added Revenge, I think from 2018, to this, but it is a little too new. It hasn't really stood the test of time just yet. Okay, red flag movie number 8 is Ingmar Bergman's Cries and Whispers. Yet again, this is a film about female friendships. If you are willing to invest not friendships, female relationships, let's say, because they're all sisters. If you're willing to invest the time and attention required to digest an Ingmar Bergman film, he happens to be my favorite director, but I say that and I watch his films maybe once or twice a year because they are so meaty and they ask so much of you as a viewer. But what I'm saying essentially is this film, if you're willing to sit through what Ingmar Bergman sometimes will put you through to get at what is essentially an understanding of female relationships, that he somehow got very right, despite not being a woman. I don't know, like, I want to know more people who rank this as their top Ingmar Bergman film. This is my top Ingmar Bergman film. And most people I know, like, this is not one they talk about. This is not one they've watched. You know, you always hear about The Seventh Seal and Wild Strawberries and Hour of the Wolf and The Virgin Spring, all of which are great. Virgin Spring fits into that essay revenge category as well. Maybe one day I'll talk about my theories about it and Last House on the Left. I don't know. But it just... Cries and Whispers is unique, and I don't think there are a lot of other Bergman films that feel the way Cries and Whispers feels. As a side note, I saw a stage production of this at BAM in New York, and back when I lived there, and it was contemporary and very, very different from the film, but a very unique experience that I think just deepened my love of the original film. Anyways, if you love Cries and Whispers, if that's your favorite Bergman film, hit me up. We will be pals. Green flag movie number 9 is Sordid Lives. What to say about Sordid Lives? I honestly don't know. Most people I know haven't even seen this. So if you haven't seen it, I'm obviously not judging you. I just, maybe it's because it's full of people that are exactly like the people I lived around when I grew up. I grew up far out in the country. I don't know, like, who knows that and who doesn't, but it doesn't really matter. But they're very lovable people from very flawed backgrounds, and some of whom have made very flawed choices. And this is a comedy. Like, it's not designed to, like, make you feel any particular type of way about this population of people. It just hits home for me because a lot of these people are very much like the people I grew up around. And there's a very unique expression of queerness in the film. Leslie Jordan is in it. Leslie Jordan? Leslie Jones? I think it's Leslie Jordan. I'll fix that. Sorry. And Beth Grant is in it. And I, like, honestly, if you don't love Beth Grant, like, you're behind the times. Like, please catch up. I'm beginning to doubt your commitment to Sparkle Motion. Please watch Sordid Lives, and once you do, if you love it, please tell me. And our final green flag movie is Cassavetes' film, my favorite Cassavetes film, A Woman Under the Influence. And Jenna Rollins is obviously, I mean, she's always been incredible, but this performance of hers is, I mean, it's definitely the best one of hers I've seen. It's not like I'm some, like, person who, like, has followed her career and has watched all of her films, because, you know, she's been making films since long before I was ever born. It's a film that is, again, hits home because of an experience that's similar to my own, and I think also a film that's a little bit about how devoting yourself to domestic responsibilities can be crushing, and how if there's any hint of desire for something more in you, that giving yourself over to a life that isn't exactly what you're looking for. And this is, please, not to denigrate people who just take care of kids, because there is no just taking care of kids. Taking care of kids is a full-time job, and it is extremely hard, and even harder to do well. So please do not misunderstand my comments to mean that. More that if you are of a specific generation, and the generation in which this was filmed, and you had an idea for your life that maybe didn't include just being a mother, but you gave yourself over to just being a mother, the way that that can crush you, especially when you're married to a man like her husband in the film, who's not a bad man by most society standards. He's just, I think not a man who could possibly understand her no matter how hard he tried. Yeah, I'm just talking in circles now. Anyways, again, please watch this film if you haven't. If you love it, please let me know. Okay, those are my green flag movies. I would love to know what yours are if you have any in the comments. The 10 people who are going to see this, which is totally fine with me. Let me know what you love and let me know why you love it and if your friends love it too. Okay? All right. Have a good day, guys.